Although social media is incredibly powerful, it always comes back to that traditional word of mouth and how you treat people. That is ultimately what is going to grow your business. I say to my girls, I don't care how much we have to get out of the job, how much we might feel like, oh my God, we need to get on the road now. Never, ever, ever make that obvious to that client. Like, you have all the time in the world to that client and you figure out the rest later.
Welcome to another episode of Beyond This Sale. My name is Kirsty Cunningham and I'm joined by my co-host, Shane Spiteri. Today we have a very special guest with us, Karla Roccuzzo. Welcome, Karla.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'm very honoured to be on this podcast.
That's right, Kirst. We're thrilled to have us with us. Karla Roccuzzo, a celebrity makeup artist, a mother, and also one of our products has just gone into our Australian store, Priceline.
Amazing. Karla, You've achieved so much in your career. Can you wind us back to finishing school, getting into makeup, getting into that industry and how it all unfolded?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing that I could possibly say is that I was never a makeup artist prior to actually studying it. The reason why I studied makeup was because I was so horrible at it. So you could definitely learn a trade, that's for sure. I finished high school and I started studying criminal justice and psychology. Wow. And whilst I was studying that, I was working part-time at a chemist and I would have all of these people come in and ask me all these questions on what foundation, what eyeshadow. And I literally said to one of my colleagues one day, I'm like, I have no idea. Why are they asking me? I literally spray Sally Hansen on my face and call it a day and go out. So I was like, I should really learn. And then I went on to enroll myself into a course and my first day, I just fell so in love with it and I never looked back.
When you got into makeup, were you doing something else at the same time, simultaneously?
Yeah, so when I initially started makeup, I was still at uni and I was still working at the chemist as well. And then slowly, I got the job at Napoleon, which led me to be in a really cool role where I was assisting the trainers in the course.
Okay.
So I think that's where I kind of learned a lot of my knowledge and skill that I kind of brought to YouTube later on. And that's how I was like able to share my tips and tutorials and stuff like that. So yeah, I didn't start just with makeup.
And you have built such a huge brand for yourself, obviously doing celebrities and getting into that space. How did you handle that and how did that all start?
Well, I think definitely having my sister's support just mentally was great because it was someone to wake up with in the morning and, just kind of remind ourselves that that was obviously our goal. It all kind of started, I guess, as a snowball effect with social media. And I think this is really interesting with how powerful social media can be, just posting and sharing our work consistently, but then also having a great, I guess, feedback of word of mouth where we were building up a really loyal clientele. We started with one kind of job and the next job and the next job, and then it just became a little bit of a snowball.
Did you do that together to begin with?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. It was actually really funny. My sister was a hairdresser working at a salon. I was working full-time at Mac. And then she literally just came home one day and was like, I want to quit. You should quit too. And I was like, no, I'm not ready to do that yet. And then it took a couple of weeks and then she finally convinced me and then we did it together.
And how old are you now?
32. I just turned 32 the other day. I need to remind myself.
Beautiful age of 32. And with Kynder, your own products, how did that start? And tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, I think being in the industry for as long as I had been prior to bringing out the product, I always said to myself, if I was ever going to go down that path, I really wanted to be a point of difference, but something personal to me. And the point of difference, I think, with Brush Defense is that there was nothing like it on the market. And I was able to bring a little bit of that knowledge of everything that I kind of brought to YouTube about, cleaning makeup brushes or the tips that I had or how important it is for your skin, and bringing that to life, I think was quite, it was a no-brainer when I thought about it initially, but I just for so long had known that brush cleaning was always kind of just pushed to the side and had this tedious kind of, like a tedious chore behind cleaning your makeup brushes. So if I wanted to bring something to the market I wanted a point of difference, but also knowledge and importance behind it.
To be able to sell that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to the start, obviously you were saying YouTube, you've mentioned it twice now.
Yep.
Instagram has taken over and your Instagram following has exploded, I would say as well. I mean, you don't have 10,000 followers, you've got over 100,000. You started on YouTube, and is that what's pushed you to other social networks? Like, what really made you go to the next level? What happened?
Yeah, I think like if we were to go back to like those 2015, 2016 days where videos and, you know, posts on Instagram were just going viral.
Yeah.
Like it was so different back in the day. So I was posting consistently on my Instagram, but I think where it kind of took a turn in terms of the following was definitely going to YouTube and just, I suppose, showing people more behind the scenes of who I was and sharing those tips and tricks and building that community and audience, not only in Australia, really helped. I think back in the day, YouTube was just, I mean, it still is great now.
I'm
but
not on YouTube. That's why I'm asking.
it's so different because now I suppose we've got TikTok where people, you get their attention for 3 seconds.
Yes.
And then they might just scroll past. Whereas back in the days, people would actually wait for YouTube posts to go live. They'd watch them.
Like your own series.
Yeah. And you have to think too, there's so many people that learnt makeup or learnt hair or learnt something creative through YouTube back in those days. So it was just so informative and educational, where I think that was really kind of the turning point. Plus, Instagram algorithms were so different. They were just like, it was very easy for a post to go viral, or it was very easy to get tagged and all those kind of things.
Because it is, you're putting yourself out there for everyone to judge you on what you're doing as a job at the end of the day. So like social media, there is online bullies. How do you deal with that in your social? Like, how does that make you feel? Have you had any negative? Have you had great positive? What's been the thing for you?
Look, I think anytime you're opening yourself to the social media world, you are going to have, you know, positive and negative experiences. It happens all the time, happens every day. I'm used to it now. I remember back in the days when I was much younger and I'd get so excited when a huge makeup page would repost my makeup look and I'd get thousands of followers from it. Like it would go crazy, but it would kind of be like now on TikTok when a video goes viral and you get all those really mean,
Get a little bit hate.
but I suppose, it's like anything, you know, you open yourself up, you have to kind of build a thicker skin and understand that it's so easy for people to think that they know you through a screen, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they do. And just because they might have an opinion doesn't mean it's true.
Correct.
You know, it's like, you can call me a shitty makeup
Whatever
artist.
you want.
I still think I'm good.
Yeah, spot on.
You know, you just got to kind of believe in yourself, I guess.
And I've got one more on the basis for this. Obviously, your name changed.
Yes.
And you obviously had your name and your husband's new name. How has that changed?
How do you change your brand?
It's really kind of hard to just, you know, change everything. I think in time, everything will kind of move over to Karla Yalda, which is why I kind of like, if you search me as Karla Yalda, you'll find me, but you can still search Karla Roccuzzo. Karla Roccuzzo is still the brand, but I think what's important and I think what's a really good thing about being the person of the personal brand, say for example, does that even make sense? Yeah. People follow your journey. So they kind of move through the different stages of your life with you. And I think most people now, I feel like know me as Karla Yalda. I don't know. It's a tricky one though. Tricky one.
Husband knows you as that name.
Definitely does. He will not tag my Karla Roccuzzo. He moves the Roccuzzo out.
Speaking of your husband, you guys have started a new journey together. Obviously, you've built a business in makeup, but now you've got a new chapter that's evolving for you guys. Tell us a little bit about getting into business together and how you manage all of that.
Oh, look, I definitely can't take any of the incredible credit that is his new journey now of Bar Mexico, Hotel Mexico, El Taco. It's been an incredible journey to obviously be a part of and see it all come to life. My sister-in-law's husband was one of the owners of Graceland. He was looking for amazing, authentic Mexican, you know, cuisine, and was incredibly fussy on who he was going to have there. And it happened to just be that part of COVID where our wedding wasn't happening anytime soon. And we were kind of just like happy with where we were in our jobs. And we had to convince him to let my husband open our taco, which was so funny. It took so many times of us, like bringing over some Mexican chefs and serving him up some Mexican food. But it's taken off. It's been incredible. My sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, and my husband just work so well together, and the other business partners. So it's been very hectic.
Yeah.
It's like good support though.
It is. I think as well, being a family-run business and supporting one another is huge. But also I think, like any brand that you start, if you stay true to it, you stay humble, people see that. People will return based on who you are when they see you greeted at the front.
Yeah. Would you give someone advice if they want to start a business or start a makeup artist? What would you tell a younger person that's wanting to get into the trade, or just give them advice?
How much do you like your weekend?
Very true, because you have to sacrifice because you've got wings.
Exactly right.
Wings.
I think that I would definitely tell someone wanting to get into the industry, sacrifice is absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And although social media is incredibly powerful and amazing, it always comes back to that traditional word of mouth and how you treat people.
Yep.
That is ultimately what is going to grow your business.
Customer service.
Customer service is absolutely everything. So whilst I take very seriously what I like to share on social media, I also always remember that when people are faced with me in my business, in any aspect of it, they get treated with that same humble, respectful, experience that they're going to tell their friends about. That's the most important thing. So definitely word of mouth is everything over social media. You can take pretty photos, but it's not going to change everything. And sacrifice.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest one, because you are working every weekend if you want to do the good jobs.
Exactly right. I had all my friends 21st and everyone was going out and staying out all night, and I was going to bed at 7 o'clock because my bride, 5 a.m.
Relying on you.
A little suitcase at the door, 5 a.m, knowing that everyone I know was still getting home. So that was a huge thing for me to sacrifice. I absolutely wanted to go and enjoy myself, but I had one very, very strict goal in mind that I wanted to keep. So
that's really cool.
Love it.
Talk to us through, I guess, about, you mentioned word of mouth. Now, you've worked with some huge celebrities, obviously doing makeup, and I'm sure that has its own challenges, but do they spread the word, or how did you network to get Karla Roccuzzo out there at the start?
Yeah, look, I think if you do move into that, commercial space of working with some really reputable brands, very recognized faces, more recognized faces, and more recognized brands will want to reach out. But having said that, just because you are in that space doesn't mean you can't get into it if you don't previously have it. I honestly think the biggest thing was working with my sister and going off to these photo shoots. Say, for example, we would be very professional. Yeah. We would be very efficient. So the makeup and hair was done within the hour, say, for example. So already with that, your brand is going, oh, wow.
Yeah, they're good.
Wait another 3 hours for the model to be ready.
Yeah.
Wow. The makeup really looks great. The hair looks great. The model likes her hair and makeup. So all of those things flowing together and keeping that really kind of professionalism in the space and being very conscious of time, I think got us some great reviews.
Yeah.
Then, it became a
compound from there.
Yeah.
Now, you've got people working for you now and you've got a team. How do you manage getting new people in and teaching them and learning all the tricks of the trade with managing staff?
So this is something that I not that I struggle with, just that I would rather keep a very small team and sleep better. Because I think when it comes to makeup especially, it is a very, very, very personal and very emotional experience for someone. And knowing that I am only in arm's reach with my team and feeling very connected to them helps me, and I think is, why I'm quite happy within the space. So I think for me, I have to know that that person's, morals and values align with me, how they act towards the client, facing it as quite an emotional experience. I always say, like, what I learned back in the day when I was much younger at Napoleon was tapping into their E layer, so their emotional layer. Like, they're obviously getting their makeup done to feel beautiful. So it is more about the experience than it actually is the application.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it needs to last and, people want to feel beautiful and stuff, but it's how you make them feel.
So I think it's a big thing. It's all about a heart. Is what I'm
Absolutely.
getting from you. It's all about the heart.
Absolutely.
So you want to surround yourself by your staff with good people, because then it's going to come to your clients. They're going to feel good. It's going to keep on going.
Absolutely. I say to my girls, I don't care how much we have to get out of the job, how much we might feel like, oh my God, we need to get on the road now. Never, ever, ever make that obvious to that client. Like you have all the time in the world to that client and you figure out the rest later. Because it's important, you know, no one wants to feel rushed. No one wants to feel, you know, that on their wedding day, especially. So yeah, I think obviously connecting with like-minded people really helps, and appreciating their style too. I love learning from my girls. I love watching them do something and being like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's me.
Have you had someone that's been negative and like didn't know? How did you deal with that on the day? So have you had a bride that's been a bridezilla, for example, and wasn't happy with the result, either yourself or one of your staff?
To be honest, we haven't. I mean, don't get me wrong. We have been in plenty of situations where we've been like, it's not the bride. It's never the bride.
Okay.
It's always like a sister or like a something like that. Which to me is always a little bit funny because they're not booking us at the end of the day. So we never have an issue with the bride because the bride comes for a trial. The bride wants to proceed. She already loves you. She doesn't like you. She won't proceed.
Exactly.
So it's never been the bride, but we've certainly been in situations where we've kind of just, and this is why I love having a team. Because if we're in like a little bit of a situation where I can feel that someone is a bit funny about their makeup or how they like to wear it or what they kind of, their vibe is, I'm just kind of like, hey, I'll pop over in just a second. Like, and that's just kind of my signal to one of my girls, like, I got you. Because that's my job as their boss. But yeah, it's, you know, like I said, it goes back to that emotional kind of thing. Sometimes a mother of the bride might bring out their eyeshadow from 15 years ago and with a little spongy thing. Like, what do you think? There you go. We can certainly incorporate it. You know, like that's the thing about makeup. People have to feel comfortable. And sometimes it's that one product you've used for 100 years. So it's just,
you have to make changes.
Makeup has really changed because even now males are wearing makeup.
Absolutely.
Like it's a new thing. Like even me. Like I don't have it on today because I don't really feel comfortable with it when I have it on. That's my personal opinion. I've had another makeup artist that I thought did a fantastic job on me. And again, it's different. So, but I see a lot of males coming in with wearing makeup now.
We've done plenty of male weddings, plenty male grooms. I've done so many.
Cameras are on them, so they want to look good.
It's not known though, because males want to hide it. They don't want to say they put makeup on. Every TV person you see, someone you see on thing, they've got makeup on.
Absolutely.
Your celebrity guests on your TV shows, they've all got makeup on, but no one's really want to say it out loud. So I think men are coming more to the makeup industry. And you'll be doing more men moving forward as well. So
sure. But I also think makeup in general is just pulling back and becoming so much more subtle now. Gone were the days of the heavy concealer, so dramatic, and the wing liners. It's like everyone coming through is just like, oh, I just want it to be, you know, I want it natural like Kylie or natural like Kim. And you're like, maybe that's more neutral. But I can certainly see that people are liking that little bit more of like that pulled back, clean girl vibe, which is a lot of what you see in obviously male makeup. You're kind of making them look very clean, very fresh, natural. Exactly right.
Talk us through how you got your products into Priceline and how did you push that?
Oh my God, what a journey.
It's amazing. It is amazing.
So cool.
Thank you. It was an incredible journey. I think, so we'll go back a couple of years. When I launched the product, I was just so excited to launch this product and, oh my God, look what I did. I did it. Did not think about strong branding, didn't think about building a brand that wasn't just the person. Like I was kind of used to being the person of the brand. I didn't have this 5 to 10 year planning process when I launched. So 2 years after I launched and realizing I was kind of onto something, I was like, okay, I want this to be seen as a really strong brand. So I want to pull my name out of it and I want to rebrand, make it Kynder, which is the slogan of be kinder to your skin. take care of your
So
makeup
good.
brushes. But also Kynder is it's Karla Yalda Roccuzzo.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Leave a little bit of me.
There you go.
But I'll make a little spin-off of, being kinder to your skin. And I only had the one goal in mind, and that was to get onto retail shelves. So
That was always your vision.
yes.
Yeah.
Who taught you though? Who taught you to get your pattern and get it all stamped and all your approval so no one copies you?
Well, this is the thing. You're never going to be able to stop.
Yeah, copy it. Yeah.
Well, I think I've always kind of come from a place of let other people notice.
Yeah.
I don't need to I don't need to say it.
Yeah.
My community that have followed the brand journey will know that. So they will stay loyal because of how you treat them and how they love the product. So you kind of can't stop that. But I had that one goal of like, okay, we need boxes to be on shelves. When I launched in like this pretty little silky kind of pinky pouch. And then I was like, that can't go on retail shelves.
That looks great. Yeah.
Everything needs to be sealed shut, obviously. Like all these little ideas, these creative ideas that I had, I was so excited about. I was like, oh, we actually can't do that if you want to go into the retail space. So when I relaunched, I made obviously everything leaning towards that retail goal.
Yeah.
And then when we did relaunch, obviously I kind of like waited until we were up on our feet and everything like that. And then I was like, I feel like it's time to reach out to a beauty buyer on Priceline. Because in my head, I was like, okay, I know you can get all excited about being in a retail store, but how are you going to sell that in a retail store?
So was the product being sold just online from you? Yeah.
Just
Before?
online and then in the salon.
Yeah.
And a couple of like beautiful boutique salons like loved selling the product as well. But for us, I was like, okay, well, there's no point in getting super excited about being in a retail shop if our demographic isn't in there.
Yeah.
So I was like, where is our demographic? They're in Priceline. Like they love, affordable products. They love beauty products. They're already in the aisles of Priceline. It's a no-brainer. So I was like super heavily pregnant. At the time, I had the worst insomnia. And yeah, I just went out on a whim and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to some buyers and just let them know that this is our product. And I'd just love to send over some samples. And it was literally, it was the most incredible experience because they were like,
cool.
We love this. We cannot believe that we don't have something like this. So
cool.
it kind of just, was.
Did you know there was that gap in that market?
Yeah, well, because if you think about brush cleaners prior to brush vents, they've always just kind of been like pushed to the side. Like you can pick them up and it's just like, oh yeah, some people spritz a bit of alcohol or whatever. It wasn't like I want this displayed in my vanity, or I want to take this.
Make it look good.
Yeah, exactly right. I wanted to make it so that you didn't want to hide us away in a drawer. Yeah. Which we're always kind of a reminder to use because we're out on display. Yeah. So yeah, it was cool. Pretty incredible. I obviously had to pitch to them very heavily pregnant and very short of breath as well. I was just like, this is...
That'll make you look more even, you wanted it. You were pregnant, you were there. Like.
So pregnant. And I was fighting all urges to not throw up. One from nerves, two from morning sickness as well, because I had just the worst morning sickness the whole time I was pregnant with my daughter. So it was obviously a very stressful, very full-on experience. But then once we were kind of over the line and I was like, guys, I think
I did it.
It was incredible. And I think it was exactly the brand alignment that kind of needed.
That you wanted.
Yeah, exactly right.
Talk us through, you're now a mum. How do you cope with obviously the pressures of your husband running businesses, you running businesses and being a mum and being present?
You know what? I think it's such an interesting thing after you become a mum. Like you talk to mums and so many will be like, oh my God, I'm never going back to work. Yeah. And then you do speak to totally like me that are like, I really kind of knew that I was in the right career when I was really excited to go back to work. And don't get me wrong, it's so hard. Like it's so hard to do mum and business and all of these things in one day. But I find the days that I do that, although I am more physically tired, I am so happy. Yeah. So I kind of I know that it's chaos for the minute, but it'll get easier and
get better.
Yeah, you just ride the waves. At the end of the day, I'm doing what I love and I feel like I'm setting an example to my daughter that she should do what she loves to.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So that's how I balance it. But trust me, for a Saturday afternoon, I'm like, I'm done. I just want to pick cherry tomatoes from my garden.
Yeah.
And nice dinner. I'm done.
That's not telling you.
That's Italian. I can't help it. And Monday morning comes around and I'm like, I got this.
Yeah.
Good. Let's go.
again.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
So you love it. That's the difference. You love
It makes
it.
me happy.
Yeah.
And I'm used to the chaos. It's fine.
Good.
Success. What's success for you?
Well, look, success for me, I think, is obviously just being, I know this sounds cliche. I feel like the viewer's going to be like, cliche.
Yeah.
But being happy in what you do is success.
Yeah.
It's so important. There's no point in being like, oh, I just want bills paid, but then you're at home and you're not fulfilled at home. Do you know what I mean? So I think that, being happy in what you do, and I think having passion in what you do is probably the most important. And it's okay if you haven't found it. People find it in all different stages of their life. But that to me is success.
Amazing.
Love it.
Amazing. Where to next for you? What does the future look like? Any big plans? Anything that we...
Any new makeup celebrities coming?
Yeah.
Big plan.
That's so good.
Probably I would say Kynder goes international.
Yeah.
That's
Amazing.
I think that's definitely the
That's so cool. Have you always been someone that chases something else? Like you're here, you've had kind of go into Priceline and that's a huge accomplishment. Was it always when that happens, I'm going further?
Yeah, well, I think that's I think that's part of just like being a brand owner. You're just always chasing the next step.
Yeah.
And you actually forget that sometimes you absolutely prayed for this position.
Yeah.
And you get there and you're like, all right, what's next? Keep going. I got to keep going. And you're like, just slow down a second.
Where did you get that from? Who taught you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who?
Parents? What's your...
Where did that come from?
My parents have always had an amazing work ethic.
Yeah.
Like they've always worked my whole life. But I guess honestly their support in saying, well, you can do anything. Like, you know what I mean? It's like
Their blessing.
Yeah, I'm sitting in my parents' garage and I'm drawing up all these bottles and I'm making all these mixtures and doing all this thing. And my dad's like, oh, cool, you should get that into a shop. Having that support is huge.
Yeah.
Because you don't
Totally.
Yeah.
I can only imagine him in the garden.
That's exactly
I love what you're doing.
You're gonna clean it up. That is literally my dad.
That's the best.
Yeah.
That's the best. We might finish off with a few really quick questions.
Favorite color?
Ooh, red.
Red. Ooh, saucy. You got red nails on?
Yeah, and Kynder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm always drawn to the red. That must be something in my star sign. I don't know.
Maybe. Any particular quote that you love?
Oh, you know what? I saw it the other day. It was like the bird never trusts the branch, it trusts its wings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
That's really cool.
moving.
Best advice you can give someone?
Ooh, book a holiday.
Yeah.
Look forward to the holiday. And anything else will just fall into
keep
place.
going.
It won't
I
be
do.
so
I believe
bad.
in that as well. I believe because you are looking for something.
Yeah. Going with that one.
Okay.
Have you had a mentor that you've always looked up to?
Ooh, no, I don't have a mentor or a coach. I think I just have a super supportive husband and family.
Yeah.
I think I'm lucky there.
Favorite client you've ever had?
Favorite client?
Yeah.
Oh, that will ruffle a few feathers.
I probably won't say like client as such, but the experience of makeup
yeah.
was being backstage with Pat McGrath at Milan Fashion Week and literally her
huge.
That's huge. Milan
was
Fashion
doing
Week.
Bella Hadid's makeup.
That's
And I was
huge.
like,
Oh, yeah.
and I was just like, it looks amazing. Yeah, that was probably the best experience.
That might have gone hand in hand with me saying, like, do you have a pinch me moment? Was that one of them?
Certainly one of them, seeing all like the incredible Victoria's Secret models Milan Fashion Week and being next to Pat McGrath, who was definitely someone that I've looked up to for so long. That was a huge pinch me moment. And I think recently seeing the product in the stores was a pinch me moment.
How did that happen?
Oh, it was incredible. Well, but the next thing that happened was I was quickly on a flight to come home to my bride because I felt too bad. I couldn't cancel. But I worked a lot with Sephora.
Yep.
So they had taken me to Paris 6 months before and it was a really successful collaboration. So they were like, we want to take you for the Pat McGrath collaboration of the eyeliner.
Yep.
But it was a like super last minute thing that we were like, we're leaving in a month. And I was like, I've got a bride on this Saturday. Do you think I could go to Milan for 48 hours? And they're like, you can do whatever you want.
Crazy.
So like that part of me of that, like I've worked so hard to get here. I'm not going
Don't want to let people down.
by cancelling on someone. And it was like such a bittersweet moment because it was like, but I could network with incredible international people, London with them for the weekend, where everyone was going to London for the weekend. But I was like, I know I have to go home to this bride because I just knew that thing of like, she tells her friends and then her friends tell their friends. And it's like, you know, I just...
Word of mouth.
That just says a lot about who you are as a person.
Oh, I cried the whole way.
Yeah.
Also, that scene, I was like...
It was a sacrifice, but that's what you have to do. You sacrifice to get where you meet
And at the end of the day, I have a baby, I'm married, I live in Melbourne, I work as a wedding makeup artist.
This is who you are.
This is you here.
Yeah.
Ruined, so...
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Karla. It's been an absolute joy having you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for listening to another episode of Beyond the Sale.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.